Hello everyone, Rascal Entertainment's here.
And Mama Entertainments. Welcome to our podcast.
Today we're going to talk about 3 underrated Disney XD shows that deserve way more attention than they have.
In this amazing era of animation for Disney XD, your mind may immediately go to the popular cartoons that have large fan bases like Gravity Falls, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, or Wander Over Yonder. But the 3 shows that really need some spotlight are the DuckTales 2017 reboot, Randy Cunningham, 9th Grade Ninja, and Penn Zero, Part-Time Hero.
Yep. And all 3 of these shows are just really great ones. 2 of them were pretty underrated, while one of them is fairly new. So let's start off with the DuckTales reboot.
Yes, DuckTales. I think DuckTales is still underrated. I think people are worried about comparing it to the original. And I think when you do reboots, sometimes you have to remember that there are 2 different shows. But what I really love about this one is Disney has stayed very, very true to the original in many aspects. And it's a very entertaining and well-done show.
Right. And like I said, most people remember the... was it a 80s or a 90s cartoon?
80s.
Okay.
80s.
Okay, I know people still remember that show, adults still remember that show.
I'm people that remember that show. I'm people 6 to ages 6 to 11.
And also, what I like about this reboot is it's one of the few ones that's out there that doesn't just degrade the original or to do something new that people don't like. And it's very rare because nowadays the only other good reboot that's currently on besides is Voltron. Not counting MLP
Legendary
because that's been on for way longer. But yeah, Voltron is the second most recent one, and that's been phenomenal and people love it. And same thing with the DuckTales one. People were already excited because it was a reboot of the old one, but also scared because like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna screw it up? Don't change crap. And they didn't. It's still modern day. They have new adventures. It's still, like you said, stays true to the original concept, but now, because the Gravity Falls team is working on it, it's got an underlying mystery on it, too.
Well, it's good, though, because I was worried when you first told me that was happening. I was like, oh, please don't let it just be Dipper and Mabel as 3 ducks and a girl duck. But that's not how it turned out. They stayed true. And that added an aspect of elevating the interest in the show for me. Because in the original, as I told you, the parents were never mentioned. The parents were never discussed. We had no idea what happened to the parents. And I guess because of the time period that it was, in our innocence, it was like, oh, okay, there are no parents. Parents must be on vacation.
Right.
And then you just keep watching. You didn't think about it.
No big deal. Now you question, all cartoons make you question everything that goes on. So it's for that, they've added the mystery of where are the ducks' mom?
Right.
Because apparently she went missing at some point, aka Gravity Falls. And she went missing at some point. So part of the series is focused on what happened to their mom while having new adventures with their apparently estranged Uncle Scrooge McDuck.
Right. And
they kind of changed it up. So in this one, Donald and Scrooge weren't speaking to each other because of something happened in the past, and they didn't even know they were related. I'm like, that's a new one, because in the original they knew immediately.
Oh,
they just kept getting dumped from person to person to person to person. Like, someone's got to keep taking care of them. And they've updated all the ducks where they're a little more relatable, and it's not just the, I don't want to say bland because they weren't bland in the original, but I guess the 3 ducks were almost the same duck in 3 different outfits.
Well, it wasn't so much of, I don't think updating, I think it was developing distinct
that's the
personalities and characters. Because in the original, you have to remember that Disney had comic books that lots of adventures took place for
Yes.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And I actually used to read those comic books.
Yes.
And they, the adventures were nice. There was, it was mild-mannered. They would get into all types of, mischief, and there were capers. And again, you have to remember the decade this was made in, the 80s. and was much more of an innocence to it. And it wasn't that they were blah; they were just more mischievous, and they stayed.
It was more about the fun,
right? And it stayed more true to the comic book version,
right?
But now again, they've developed personalities and characters, which is a good thing,
right?
Because I like, that they have. You can tell there's a difference between the other.
Right.
Before it was more stuck on the concept of they're triplets, and because they're triplets, they're exactly the same, and you can only tell the difference because of their name.
Right.
That was it.
And then before you could get confused, like the blue one's which one again? Which they kind of made a joke of now, because now they're so individual. You can tell them apart now. They have different personalities. They have different looks, different styles, different voices.
Right.
So now, like the Ninja Turtles, you can't mistake them for each other, but they do always make the joke. It's like Huey, Dewey, the blue one. No one remembers the blue one.
Right.
And Scrooge McDuck they had where he gave up on adventuring in this version, and then thanks to the premiere movie they had back in the summer, and what happens with the adventures of his nephews, he gets tossed back into adventure, and he wants be the star again, and just go travel on the world. And now they have Donald joining them on some of them, and Webby, who they've also what's the word? Retained, yeah.
Right. And I think that was interesting the route they took with Scrooge, because on the original, based on watching the original, you never would have thought he would have retired or quit. You thought he just would have kept going forever and ever and ever, because he was just really, really just money-centered duck. He was. So, why would he stop doing anything that kept bringing him trillions and trillions of dollars?
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, oh, he got tired. What?
Yeah, and that was another added mystery. Something happened in the past where he gave up, and that's what kind of brought it to the pilot.
Right. And as for Donald, he's pretty much stayed the same. He was a goof. And he was always, tripping up. He was fodder. And they've kept that now, but he's lovable father. You still like Donald Duck, but they've kept that for him. Webby is more adorable now. I'm sorry. I love the voice actress that does Webby, and she just makes her sound so adorable, and she looks so adorable. Webby really is, for me, I like her even more in the reboot than I did in the original.
Okay. And it's not just, what they originally had was the standard girl character added to a usually all boys team, and that was pretty much it, which was fine for the time. 80s. But for now, everybody's gotta be multi-layered and diverse and stuff because of the way cartoons are written now. So now they made it where she's a mystery solver, she knows martial arts, she likes danger too much, she knows all these crazy moves, and they're always freaked out, but they love it anyway.
And she finally gets to go out.
Right.
And I think that's good. I don't think that's a bad thing in this case. Or in most cases, unless people just get carried away. Because now you have to understand that it's a different time period. And people are more informed about the world and about the subjects and topics that they talk about. A lot of times then, kids would watch and they would not know that much about going on adventures or research or like Indiana Jones type stuff.
Right.
And the most that you would have known would have been from watching Indiana Jones, where it came out every so often. But now the versions that they make, they take into account the intelligence of the viewer. And I think it's great that they're giving the kids that are watching these cartoons now more credit for being more aware and more intelligent, more informed, and diverse in their interests. Right. So I think it's a great thing. And I mean, it's not that we were dumb. Right. That wasn't it. But again, it was just during that time, it was more innocent time. Right. The internet was not as widespread. You didn't have as much communication at the touch of the finger or with your cell phones. So many choices with iPods and Kindles, and you didn't have all the social medias. So you've got to take into account that the children are more aware and, again, more intelligent in terms of knowing what goes on in the world. Right. And I have to say Disney did a really great job in how they set this particular show up in respecting them. So it's great.
And like they also added more. Well, actually, they didn't have too many new characters. They still have Glomgo, which is another Irish rich duck and Scrooge's rival. They've added the Beagle Boys are still in there. They have this
Launchpad is still there.
Yeah, Launchpad McQuack. They're gonna have Gizmo Duck later on. They're apparently going to have what was with Magica Dispel. She's going to be in there, but they're waiting a little bit because apparently her daughter is in the show and she's befriend Webby. And I guess she's using her to try to get out of, I guess, some realm she's in and she's supposed to get out of it. So she's kind of like staying in the background for now. And
that was a nice addition because you see Webby not only interacting with the boys,
right?
But you also see her interacting with a girl near her own age. And so she gets to have double the adventures. Seriously, you know, they have the adventures together, or she has adventures with the boys, or she has adventures with her female friend.
And they have also 2 new villains so far. They had there's this guy who's supposed to be like a duck version of Mark Zuckerberg, where he just has this whole company that just goofs off, and you work for him, and it's like, what do you do? And they pretty much just do nothing. They make money off of nothing, which I guess was their little jab at him, at Zuckerberg.
Right.
And that's about it for new villains. They don't have as many. They're still, you know, taking its time and having the older villains in there, and then introducing new ones as it goes on. Because as of now, it's only had 9 episodes. I've heard it's supposed to be back on in May with new episodes either every day or every week for the whole month. I guess they needed more time because, as you know, this came out in like September or October.
Well, I think this is true form to knowing that this is being written by the Gravity Falls team.
Right.
Just hope they don't take a year break like they did with Gravity Falls.
Oh, yeah, that was a nightmare.
So this is, it's in true element. Oh, here, the show is great. Yeah,
and I gotta wait.
A break.
Right. 9 episodes in, and then they go on break.
And they didn't even announce it, and we kept checking like, oh, it's not on. Okay, well, maybe it's just for the week.
Right.
And then you go back to the next one, and maybe it's just for another week. And then after that, you're going, would you like fries with that? Because
the last one we saw was in December, and they had lined up with a couple holiday specials, different NXT shows, like Star had Stump Day, Milo Murphy had a Christmas special, Pickle and Peanut, and other shows had Christmas, and they had a winter-themed special, so they didn't have a holiday one.
We thought it was back. We're like, oh, it's back!
Right, like, oh, no, it was just for the occasion, since it was the holiday season, and that was it. So now we're getting episodes again in May, starting with a Moonshire, some type of it's a golf episode, I think, and then a Mystery at McDuck McManor, and I said, you better not run that word into the McGround.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
and really, there's not even anything to complain about the reboot. You know, every once in a while, people always have, oh, well, this isn't right, this isn't right. The only thing I can say, nothing's really wrong with the story for me. Characters are good. Animation's great. Theme song is still catchy in the old tune.
And that's what I was going to...
Oh, wait, go to the tune before I get to...
That was going to be the ending for it.
Oh.
So go ahead.
Okay, I'll edit that out. For the only thing I had was very minor. It was with Donald. Sometimes I can't understand what he's saying. Half the time I can't.
That's the beauty of Donald. That's part of his charm. Half the time, I guess because I'm so used to listening to him, I know what he's saying, but that was part of the original charm. And, you know, it would kind of be like, what the H-E-double-L is he saying? But if you listen, seriously, if you just listen to him, you can understand everything he's saying. Right. But that's part of Donald's charm and him being Donald Duck, where you have to really listen to understand what he's saying.
Right. Because, yeah, there were times I didn't understand what he was saying because they have him speak kind of what the subsequently normal. He's not going all the time. He's still speaking like this, but it's actually speaking like this the whole time.
And that's Donald.
And I understand that there's some times where it'll sound like he's garbling. I said, what? What?
But that's part of it. and especially originally, even in like shorts they would do with Donald, it would be hilarious where he would get upset and he would just start going off. And then you're just sitting there like, what did this duck say? But that's Donald. So that's part of the charm that's not going to go away. So I guess we'll wrap it up with, as you were mentioning, the theme song. And that's the sweetest part, that they kept the original theme song, the original lyrics, And unfortunately, you told me that the person who sang the song had passed.
I think so, because
I was really hoping he would be singing again. But the girl that they have singing, who is it that's singing?
Felicia Barton.
She does a great job. So that was the best part for original viewers of the original series, is that they kept the same theme song, because I know it. Yay!
Right?
So if you haven't seen DuckTales, when it returns, you should watch it. I don't know if the first 8 episodes are available on demand, but if they are, you can watch them. And there's a DVD out with the first episodes available at Target and at Walmart.
Yes.
And it's under $10, so take a gander, ha ha ha.
Right.
And check out this show. You won't be sorry you did.
And remember, it is coming on Disney Channel now, because most of the Disney XD shows are moving to there. So you have to go to Disney Channel on whatever cable provider you have to watch it, because it will no longer be on Disney XD.
Right. So now we're going to move on to our next topic, Randy Cunningham, 9th grade ninja.
A freshman to fight the forces of evil. I am the ninja. I am Randy Cunningham.
Oh my gosh. I remember when you first showed me this and you said, okay, let's watch an episode and see if you like it. And I loved it from the first episode.
And I was scared at first, because usually sometimes, but I shouldn't be anymore, because you like weird stuff like Regular Show and Star and Wonder.
But I loved it. And, you know, I got the reference to Motor City when I saw the characters, but I think part of that is part of the charm of this cartoon. They make some of the weirdest expressions, and their movements just crack you up, especially when he's moving around and doing his fighting, and he just looks so odd, and then at times he looks so cool. So it's just part of the charm of this show. But tell them what the show's about before I get carried away.
Okay, so it's about a 9th grade student at
Randy Cunningham.
Right, at a what's the name of the high school? Shoot. Okay, it's at a high school. Just put in like, I don't know, a high school name here. And he's been chosen to become the next ninja. And there's a ninja that protects the school every 3 years. And it keeps changing, I guess, unless they don't graduate. And then they have to be the ninja for another 3 years.
And my wife keeps telling me I should just give up.
Well, that's happened once. There was one guy in there that actually did stay longer than he should, but we'll get to that later. Right. He's been chosen to become the ninja, and he just doesn't know what he's doing. He just puts it on. He's all to tell everybody, you can't tell anybody. Oh, dang. And the only person who knows is his best friend. Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird Disney version of Spider-Man before Disney got Spider-Man, where it's a everyday student, puts on a mask, is a superhero, and he has to protect the school from the sorcerer, who's apparently been the ninja's enemy for centuries. And he puts stank in the school. That's what it's called. It's called stank.
Oh my gosh, the lingo in this series, it's just so Bruce.
Yeah, it's so Bruce. And he puts the stanky, yes, that's what it's called, on the school. If a student is angry or something, or is feeling emotion, he would sense it. Oh, he's voiced by Tim Curry, by the way. And
the villain.
Right. And it mutates the students, as if he gets enough energy, he can break free from his prison and start to wreak havoc on the world again. And that's the ninja's job, to keep the sorcerer from getting free.
Now, if you're a watcher of Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, it reminds me of Miraculous with the new villain every time someone gets angry. So it's very obvious that Miraculous picked this up.
Right.
And it also reminds me of Troll Hunters. And because his best friend reminds me of Toby, he reminds me of Jim, and it reminds you immediately when you watch a few episodes of these two shows. So it was obvious that they were very influenced by this particular series.
Yeah.
And I have to say that they did a great job of incorporating those aspects into their shows without being copycat. And you go, oh, you stole that. You don't think that, but as soon as you see it, you go, you watched Randy Cunningham.
Right.
You watched Randy Cunningham. It's obvious. So
right.
This show is definitely underappreciated because prior to your telling me about it, I honestly had never heard of it, and it's sad that it's off and gone. Mm-hmm. This is a show that the quality of writing is stupendous. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's smart. They've got some episodes that are just kick butt awesome. And the characters are unique and different. Mm-hmm. And it's so sad that either Disney canceled them or... they took this show away.
Yeah. I was introduced to this first by my alpha twin, Bennett Dudley, who recommended to me a long time ago, and I kept looking for it on demand and never showed up. Finally, they did it recently, and I watched the first episode, and I told him, this is so strange and cool and weird at the same time. He said, keep watching. So then I finally got Mom into it, and she loved it too. It was just so fast. Everything is just like super fast, and especially the first episode, it was like, slow down. But, as you were saying, the show was canceled only after 2 seasons, kind of like Motor City and possibly Penn Zero. I know how it ended, but I felt like there should have been more to that show, which we'll discuss. Mm-hmm. But Randy's supposed to keep going, I think, for probably another season because of how it ended.
Since the ninja is replaced every 3 years, then I think it should have continued for 3 seasons.
Right.
And then showed it being passed over to the next ninja.
Right.
And then ended the series. That would have been perfect. Disney, you missed it.
Right. And surprisingly, it's got a pretty big fan base. When I looked online, I saw a ton of fan art for this show, and fanfic, and comics, and season, and I didn't know, like, wow, all these people really loved this show when it came on. They were using the lingo, like the boost, and the sting, and it's wonk, it's the cheese, which thank goodness they didn't keep that one. But yeah, it was a really fun show with some creative episodes. I know you got a favorite.
That's why it's not a surprise that it has a big fan base. If you've watched the show, you understand why. Mm-hmm. If you haven't, then it probably would be, why. But once you watch this show, you understand what there is to love about this show. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait until we find season 2.
It should be up probably next month.
It would be nice that if it's on demand where it's easy to watch on
Right.
TV.
For us, we wait for some stuff to come up on demand. And they put all of season 1 up, so we watch that thing fast. But they didn't put up season 2, so we're waiting for it to be added so we can finish the series. So we can't give a full disclosure on what happens both seasons, just the first one.
Let you know why you should watch the show and what there is to love.
Right.
And on one hand, I wish it weren't Disney, because if it weren't Disney, then Netflix would have had it a long time ago.
Right.
That's the only drawback. Netflix is awesome in having all these shows that have gone to the cartoon graveyard way too soon, and you're able to watch them, enjoy them. Right. But since it's Disney, the chances of it being on Netflix are slim to none.
And then DVD as well. But they're getting on streaming service, so maybe it'll be on there.
That would be great.
Now,
I think for me, you're talking about the fun parts. I love when he goes into the book. I love every time he goes there, because it's different. Every single time it's a different experience. Of course, a different lesson they're trying to get Knucklehead Randy to learn. But I love when he goes into the book. Yeah. It is just fun, fun.
Right, the ninja Namekan.
Yeah.
He will open his, and I think he blacked out or something.
So hilarious. The first time we finally saw him, I was like, Mamas, that's what happens when he passes out, and he looks like he's just, he looks like he's a zombie.
And then he's just out of it, and then he's just gone until the book's done with him, and then brings him and goes, and then it's like, what the heck happened?
I think the most hilarious part for me is no one pays attention to this. No one sees this kid looking like he's just died or anything. Everyone just ignores him when he's walking by.
Yeah, and I was like, is he okay? He's moved in like a couple minutes.
It's almost like they said, maybe he's narcoleptic. We don't pay attention.
And the episodes we mentioned are really fun. I know Mom's got Mama's got a favorite episode. Tell us yours.
But tell them yours first.
Okay. I think it would be... Okay, two of them would be... One would be the season finale, where they're sent back in time to the 13th century to the first ninja.
That was awesome.
And the first battle with the sorcerer, and how this whole chain of events started.
Right.
And how he ended up starting the Ninja Namicon. And he got to meet the first ninja who was really strict compared to the one of now.
Now
and
that reminded me of Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
And Wan.
Right.
Avatar Wan.
Yes, exactly. And I know Dudley said that's his favorite. Now I see why. All I can say is that finale was the best.
Yes, it was. I love that too.
And my other favorite would be the one where he fought the Tengu, was supposed to be an old enemy of the ninja, but they're forever linked, so one can't defeat the other permanently. And it possessed Howard, so he was acting like a bird half the time and getting fed, you know what was going on. And then he turned into a bird. It got so bad, and he was willing to give up being the ninja to save him. And that's what a lot of people... I found out people loved that episode just because of that moment. He was willing to go to save him, and they said they loved that episode. Yeah. So that was a pretty fun one.
Okay, my two, and you'll have to help me here because you know me and the names with episodes aren't too well, but I can tell you the episode from beginning to end. You know my all-time favorite is the one with all the 80s references.
Straight to the Future!
Oh, I love that, my gosh. I made Rascal watch it over. She's like, are we done yet? Like, no. That was the most hilarious episode. All the 80s references. Of course, Back to the Future reference. And I loved it. That is my favorite episode. Tell them more about it.
Okay. They have where power goes out at the school. The freezer kind of melts. And it turned out there was this student who was a monster at the time, was frozen there since the 80s. And then he was thawed out and they de-stanked him. And he was this nerdy... kid who was trying to go to prom with his crush, and he didn't realize that it was the future, and he was going around saying everything has changed, and he had his old giant phone, and he had his old mixtape and stuff. He was panicking, and the sorcerer, he's like, man, I haven't sensed that type of stink in years. It was just hilarious. And in the background they have this old parody song of that's the thing about love, and it's just like,
and it's like the power of love from Huey Lewis and the News.
And they had to figure out how to fix it, and he's looking for the whole time. He's looking for his prom day, and that's what he's looking at the whole time.
Flashback, and that was cute. And then they, when they finally figure it out and get it done. They return to their original selves, and then suddenly it's like someone flips the switch to the present, and he loses hair, and he gets fat. Wow. And it's like, why did they do that to him? That's horrible.
Because it's that realistic. Oh man, I was like, no, they didn't
like
do
everybody from the 80s does not look like that. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious, but it was sweet at the same time. And once that happened, he stopped being the villain. And it was I love it for all the 80s references. It's so much fun, and I love it for the happy ending. My second favorite, I think, is tied between the one with the zombies and
the living McFizzles.
Yes, and I love that because of all the Thriller references. Oh my gosh, when I saw the one that looked like Michael Jackson in Thriller, I screamed and laughed so hard, and we kept whining, and we kept doing it. It was hilarious. And then there was one, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not thinking about the next show, did they do a musical?
No, they kind of came close where they had a rap off, but that was it.
Okay. What's the name of that episode?
The Hip Hop Apocalypse.
That's it. Yes, I love that one. And tell me a little about that.
Oh, okay. So they get into this rap battle with apparently a legendary rap group at the school, which clearly looked like they shouldn't be at the school. It looked like they're grown men, and they had to do some rap off at a concert, and they didn't know they were actually awakening some old monster worm underground, and they keep like aggravating it by rapping, and it's like they gotta calm it down, and it's like, will you quit rapping?
So those are my favorite episodes. But if you've never seen this show, you should see it. It's not one that they have a great theme song, but the opening is really great. Where it basically tells, and again, it reminds me of Legend of Korra,
right,
or Avatar, because they tell you a little story, brief intro about who he is and what he does, and then you know that he's the hero. So I like the intro. But this is just a really great show, and I'm so sorry we learned about it after it got canceled.
Years later.
And I'm so sorry that we haven't seen the second season yet, and I can't wait. I am so glad. Thank you so much, Bennett, that you tell us of these wonderful shows, because I'm really loving it, and you've got some awesome taste, dude.
Yeah. And, I want to mention quickly, they got other villains besides the Sorcerer. They have Hannibal McFist, who's voiced by John DiMaggio. They have...
And he reminds you of the bad guy from Motor City.
Right.
Kane.
Yes,
right?
yes, that's right. And they have Catfish Boo Ray, who's voiced by Jim Cummings. I always love that line Randy said to the bear when he was trying to get out. He said, "Oh, you want something to eat? I'm just like a bite of crouton leg." I love that. The villain. I'm sorry. The villain. He's also he got magic powers over the animals of the bayou. Apparently, there's a bayou next to the city. I don't know how. And they just have this whole rogues gallery of villains. They also got the sorceress who can make people fall in love with her and see her as a beautiful human. And yeah, there's just
which reminds me of Supernatural. I think they took that one from Supernatural.
Yeah,
but they did it in a great way. But yeah, they definitely took that from Supernatural.
And another one they had was previously a ninja. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. He was a ninja in the 80s. He's the one that trapped that kid in the freezer.
Right.
And he didn't want to give up being the ninja, so he was keeping longer than he should, and they had to forcibly take the costume from him, and so he never lost his memory.
And he again was reminiscent of, my wife keeps telling me I should just give up. That's a Star versus the Force of Evil reference for you guys who don't know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So
yes, the show is amazing. If you want to see it online, you can. If you have on-demand video service, watch it on there. Amazon Prime is also available. It's just a really awesome show that deserves way more attention and should be recognized as one of Disney's
accolades and praise than it probably ever received.
Yes, most definitely. So now we move on to our last Disney XD cartoon.
Penn Zero, part-time hero. Penn Zero, part-time hero. Penn Zero.
Zap in 2 dimensions every day. It's my job to be a hero, save the world, and make things right. Kung fu rolls, rescue trolls, punch a zombie, score a goal. I'm a robot, I'm a rabbit, I'm a knight. Boone and Sashi always sticking by my side. No villain's gonna stop. Penn Zero, part-time hero. Penn Zero, part-time hero. Penn Zero.
Okay, so this last one is about a kid who job as a part-time hero to go to these different universes and become certain people. They have to and their mission is either solve a problem, help somebody, defeat a villain or something in their universes, so it stays balanced, because if evil wins in any of the universes, the universe will be off balance, and that means that it'll tip the scale and the villains could start winning more and more, and that could throw the world out of balance.
Right.
And also the side story is that he's also looking for his parents who are trapped in the world's most dangerous world in the universe. And he gets help from his friends, the Boone and Sashi, and then there's Phyllis, who controls the machine that takes him to these different universes.
Right.
And the show has been known as like a pre-star for going to these other universes, but universe is not dimensions, so I'm kind of confused on that.
It also reminds me, because I know it's universes, but it also reminds me of this show. It's another 80s shout out to a show that was called Quantum Leap, where this guy would be sent by a guy who acted like Phyllis, in terms of he would send him to where the help was needed. And he would jump to different periods of time to make sure that these events happen so that history wouldn't be changed. And when he would get to that period in time, he would change into, like, if he, let's say he went to, let's just say he went to a time period where he went to the time where Madame Curie was, and it turned up being Madame Curie, and he would turn into her, and you would have to watch the show understanding that you see him, but he's being Madame Curie, and then at the end of the episode, you would see whomever he was portraying right before he leaped back. And this reminds me so much of that. in terms of being well done. And it was humorous, but it was serious at times. But Penn Zero, I remember when you showed me this, is another show you said, you showed me the pilot.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and
can we watch it? Can we watch it? You were like, you really want to see it? Like, yeah, is it on? Is it on?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kind of like with Loud House. I kind of put all these Christmas specials from different shows on a disc, and I showed her the one for Penn Zero, which was technically the pilot episode was also the holiday special. And the show was recommended to be, once again, by Deli. I seen him use it, and I have to go and find it again because I must watch it. And then, yeah, Mom loved this show. We had to watch that episode twice over.
Yes, I love it. One, I'm really big on intros, as you know, and theme songs. And the theme song is so catchy, and I kept singing it over and over. When I do that, that is one big indication that I really like the show, and you know this when you keep hearing me singing. You're like, you're singing that again. You're singing that again. That's the 50th time you sang it. That's how you know.
Yeah,
I really
you do. Yeah, you did it with Star and with Wanda. Like, okay, you love the show.
But what I really love about it is the characters are unique. Penn is really unique. And you show me the actor who voices him, and he looks like the actor. And he's adorable. And he has this innocence to him, which is what really makes him a likable character. And, you know, he's got his two friends that are willing to go through time and back, or I should say universe and back, to help him. And then you've got Phyllis, who acts real gruff, but she really cares about them. And you learn that she does. And that everyone really wants him to find his parents. Just that whole dichotomy, paired with every universe is different, and you know I have my favorite universes. It just made the show wonderful, and I'm so sorry to say I am so sorry that Disney canceled yet another fabulous show.
And I understand that from what I saw, they said they ended on their own, because I know sometimes it happens. Sometimes
like Gravity Falls.
Right. And to me, I'm sorry, I can't really take that seriously because, one, the season was cut from 26 to 13. Two, they were playing with character arcs for Sashi and Boone and having more character development, but they had to rush them all in 2 episodes each.
So were there 3 or 4 seasons?
No, there were only 2, but they rushed everything for character development in 1 season. Then they may have been canceled, and they just didn't say, and they ended because they had Boone was supposed to get character development, but they had to rush it all in 11 minutes. Sashi gets one, rushed it in 20 minutes. You found out more about Ripon, and that was the best backstory one besides the first episode, how Penzo became the part-time hero. And they still have some new creative universes. They went back to a few from the first season that they didn't go to the second time. And they had some new ones were heavily inspired from Disney shows. Like they had Pirates World. They had
the
Terminator.
Flower World.
There's a Flower World.
And
there's
a Noir World.
Yeah, there's a Dragons meets Top Gun world.
Oh my gosh, and you kept saying, that's Top Gun, they're copying Top Gun. And it was so funny because you've never seen that movie, but I guess you saw enough commercials and the video for Right into the Danger Zone.
Yeah, every time there's someone with some air jacket on, it's 2 out 4, and that means it's Top Gun.
And then you were so upset when they wasted the opportunity for him to sing a version of that song.
Yes.
He did a guest voice appearance and nothing happened.
Yeah. The guy who sang that song said, you make it to the top because you don't want to be at the bottom. You're not supposed to be at the middle. I'm like, what song is this? They could have sang Went Into the Dragon Zone. I was waiting for that period. That would have been great. Do it to a close tune of it. And I went through the Dragon Zone. And that would have been perfect. But that was the song. Like, that's the song you did. Okay. They had a superhero world with
ball world.
Yeah, with
superhero world.
Huh?
The superhero world.
Yeah, with Adam West as Captain Super Captain.
And he played his own twin brother.
Yeah, Professor Evil Professor. I'm not saying it like that. And let's see what else was there. There was one where they were fish. There was one where they had a cowboy world where all the horses were dinosaurs.
And that one really was integral to the arc.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very.
Yeah, because they went back there 2 or 3 times. They had one where a caveman was a secret agent, and in the clown world, I had a steampunk world, and I could just go on and on, but I don't want to fill up all the time. But there are just so many creative worlds. When they got to the second season, some of it started to get a little strange, even for a Penn Zero episode. Like they had one where it was wrestling, really WWE wrestling with fairies. That was a strange one. And they had one where it was like a Terminator-like world, but done in the style of Tom and Jerry.
Yes. That was actually funny.
Okay.
That was actually funny. It was strange, but it was funny.
And then they had one where you said it was a movie called 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
Where they were all ghosts in an apartment, and some Ghostbusters guy was trying to exterminate them all, and they had to fight back.
And that was another reference to the 80s. Michael J. Fox starred in it. And in it, they had this rogue couple who were actually serial killers. And somehow, I won't, if you've never seen it, spoil it, they get back alive. And the first thing they do is start killing all the ghosts who help him when he's doing his ghost busting. And as soon as I saw it, I said, that's 13 ghosts. That's 13 ghosts. But it wasn't creepy. It wasn't scary.
Right.
But you knew that's where they borrowed the episode plot from.
Right. But yeah, they had quite a few creative worlds, and some of them went back to twice. Mm-hmm. And I know your favorite, without a doubt, is Plantywood.
Yes.
Where there's a noir plant world, and the detective's a cactus, his sidekicks, little, what is it called? Dandelion? I was like daffodil. A dandelion, and Boone was the narrator that never shut up.
Right.
And it was really cool how they kept that tone.
Yes.
And they always kept it where it was still funny as heck, but it was still a mystery. And they had all these throwbacks to 1920s movies and the characters, and everyone was named after a plant. Looked like a plant.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, they really took their time
and
on this.
I think that's why that was my favorite, because I'd never seen anything like it done on any series ever. It was just so unique that I had to love it.
That could have been its own show, too. If it wasn't part of Penn Zero, I think that could have been its own standalone show.
And my second favorite, of course, is Penn Zero with Jekyll and Hyde. That's my second favorite.
Rip Penn!
Yes, that's my second favorite of the entire series. And you used it in one of your mashups where he goes...
Oh my lawn. Looks like laughing turns you back to Penn.
Oh yeah, he goes when
over and over.
Yeah, oh yeah, in this one he's gets angry a lot, like the Hulk. So they have to keep him. Yeah, they have to keep him calm. So if he gets angry, he turns into a monster version of Rippin'. And then when he laughs, he turns back into Penn. And each time he's got to change clothes because he ripped them all off. And then he goes, he goes, and then as he walks, he changes when he walks. As soon as he's behind there, and then he's out, and then the costume's on. It's like you didn't even stop. He goes, like, how'd you do that without stopping? And that was the whole episode. They had to come up with an antidote so he would stop transforming and he wouldn't die from the poison. And he also was getting his anger was being tested with Larry, who's Rippin's really very nice evil sidekick.
Docile,
he's nice, but he's annoying as heck. And and parents want him to shut up. He was banging his head on the table, squeezing a lemon to not get angry, like he was gonna just go and then he transformed again.
So I've told my two favorites. What are your top two favorites?
Okay, let's see. I think it would be the Christmas one, the North Pole Down, was the first one we saw, just for they're making fun of all the Christmas movies. Oh, we can solve this through song. And then at the end, when they were about to get all snap, and like, oh, it didn't work. They're like, well, that for nothing. And he was Santa Claus, and his he kept hitting everybody with his big belly. He said, what do we do? Ow! He's like, oh, I'm sorry, careful. Said, well, ow, I'm sorry. It's my tummy. And then another one. Oh, let's see. What was my other favorite be? Besides the Dragon World, I think it would be one of serial criminals and then serial fugitives, where they become the mascots of all these different brand cereals from reality, and they have their own cereal world. They got a farm where all the cereal that that the sponsors for, they have like a farms. They water them with milk, and the villain is the milkman who wants to make all the land soggy so they can't fight him. Hilarious. And he's such a mild-mannered milkman, but he's one dangerous fella. He beats the crap out of them when he gets the chance. It's like, oh, you're not so mild now. Right? And he's also a throwback to these old commercials commercials from the 50s about, oh, if you eat this, you're going big and strong, and you drink milk for your bones and stuff. It was funny. Yeah. And then each of them had their own little catchy jingle, except for Boone, who was the least popular, which a beaver who's supposed to be cool to get kids to eat kale flavored cereals. Like, no one wants to eat that. Right. And Ripon was a bear who was supposed to be a parody of the honey. I think it was the honeycomb?
Sugar Crisp.
Sugar Crisp bear.
Well, it's not called Sugar Crisp anymore because sugar is bad for you. But it used to be called Super Sugar Crisp, and now it's
I guess Crisp.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. Or it's something. And that was really creative that all the cereal mascots had their own world. They had the cereal, and that's what they would eat every day, and they had their own society built off of cereal.
That was a great
that was really, I like when they have really creative episodes like that. So I guess those would be my favorites.
So I think the thing that really makes this show work is, as you say, the really creative worlds they go to. The animation, and a lot of times the color was really vivid. And the Penn and Sasha and Boone would, a lot of times you could tell if you watched, they would be more vivid in color than the worlds they went to. I like that before the show ended, he found his parents. Hooray, the happy ending. Right. It was just a great show. It was fun. It was smart. Episodes were well written for a show that worked mostly on comedy. Yeah. And again, Penn is such a character that has such innocence, and he really cared every time he would go to these worlds. He really cared about the people he was helping. And then remember, he had his little ship episode with the girl who was a pirate. Yeah. When
the first episode of the season went to a pirate world, they had to find a treasure map for something, I don't remember. And so like he started liking her. Then when the next time they went
for these different stones that would allow him to travel to the universe his parents were in. Right. He didn't know that the one she was wearing around her neck was one of the
Right, yeah, that was it. And then it was funny the next time he went in there, oh, you like her, don't you? Oh, where'd you see her? He's putting this giant picture where he's holding her. And then they stopped all of a sudden, they had back this character who, he was supposed to be in the place of, and she ends up with him. I was like, what? Right. Like, what happened? I thought you was gonna forget it.
And then you understand later because of what happens at the end of the series. But it was cute. It was really a cute episode. It was really cute seeing him gaga over her, and you knew she liked him too. Right. So that was their shipping episode.
Right. But this was also another show that ended on a cliffhanger where it looks like it's supposed to be more in a come, and unfortunately didn't get to it, or it doesn't have a spinoff. Right. And the theory is maybe they're playing some big crossover movie like an Avengers style Infinity War, where maybe all these shows, when their series enter a cliffhanger, they're going to come together for a big crossover movie or TV show where they got to fight something that requires all these different shows, heroes, help.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
So I have to say thank you, Bennett Dudley, and thank you, Rascal, for introducing me to Randy Cunningham and Penn Zero, because these are shows that I absolutely love, and these are shows that I could watch over and over. Go back and watch my favorites. And I have to say thank you, Disney, for bringing back DuckTales. And doing it in such a wonderful, creative, brilliant way that doesn't make us go, oh, we miss the old DuckTales. That was a great show on its own, but this one is awesome in its reboot. So thank you, Disney, for giving kids of all ages shows to love and watch and to grow attached to, and don't do the same thing to DuckTales and cancel them once we start loving it after season 2.
Right. So that wraps things up for us. Next week we'll be doing
Girl Power, where we discuss Powerpuff Girls, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Puffy, Amiyumi, and
Kim Possible. That's
and Kim Possible, yes, where you love smart, funny girl protagonists. So join us.
Yes.
And our intro will be done by our Japanese friend Yuli.
Oh yes. Okay, I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a toon-tastic day.
Peace.
And have a Bruce one.
It's on you, man, it's on you. There in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.